Hey there! If you are dealing with a dog that loves to dig, whether it's in flower beds, in your front yard, or in your backyard, you are not alone. I know it can feel so frustrating when you see your hard work in the garden turned into a dirt pile. But today, we're going to talk about why your dog digs, and most importantly, what you can do to navigate this normal canine behavior. First, let's get one thing straight. Digging is completely normal. Nearly all dogs will dig at least occasionally if given the chance. When your dog is digging, it's not a sign of bad behavior or disobedience. It's just part of being a dog. So, why do they actually dig? There are several reasons. They might smell something good in the ground, such as rodents or other critters. Some dogs also find the act of digging itself exciting. This is especially true for eye-driven dogs like border collies that zone in on the movement of the dirt. And sometimes, dogs simply dig because it's fun. It's a great way for them to move their bodies and engage with the world around them. But, of course, while digging is normal, it can definitely become a problem if it damages your landscaping or it becomes really obsessive. So, let's break down some specific digging scenarios and how to handle them. One of the most common complaints I hear about is dogs digging up flower beds or damaging landscaping. And I get it. Flower beds are soft, they smell great, and for your dog, they're basically a giant invitation to dig. If your dog is targeting areas you want to protect, the first step is to physically block them from accessing those spots. You can use something like an exercise pen or poultry fencing to create a barrier. This is a simple but effective way to prevent digging where you don't want it. But here's the key. If you're saying no to digging in one area, you need to provide your dog with an alternative where digging is allowed. Remember, digging is normal. If you do not give them a place to do it, they might get frustrated or simply dig somewhere else where you do not want them to. Even a small patch of yard or a small area where digging is okay will make your dog incredibly happy. It lets them satisfy this natural need without damaging the rest of your landscaping. If you do not have such an area in your yard, you can even just take them to an appropriate place to dig on your walks. Now, let's talk about a different kind of digging. The one that is really obsessive and where dogs create gigantic holes because they're working on them for hours on end. These dogs cannot be distracted and they are completely fixated on the digging. This often happens when dogs that are left alone in the yard for long periods. If this sounds like your dog, I want you to know, this is not a digging problem. This means that your dog is generally understimulated and bored. Simply being in the yard is not enough to meet your dog's needs for physical exercise, mental stimulation, social time, and enrichment. In fact, for many dogs, the yard can just be another boring space unless something exciting with you is happening there. When a dog does not get enough stimulation, digging often becomes the only interesting thing they can do. And then they hyper-focus on it, creating those massive holes. The solution to excessive digging, of course, is not punishing the dog or scolding them. It is about creating a life that's more enriching and interesting. Here are some ideas to get started. Physical exercise. Make sure that your dog is getting plenty of physical exercise. They need to move their bodies and they need to have elevated heart rates during exercise. A tired dog is far less likely to dig out of boredom. Mental stimulation. Add mental stimulation and novelty to your dog's day. You can use puzzle toys, teach them new tricks, play games together, or take them to new locations. And finally, supervise the yard time. Do not leave your dog alone in the yard for hours at a time. Instead, spend time with them and make the yard a fun, engaging place that you two are at together. Remember, digging is a normal and natural behavior for dogs. They're not trying to ruin your yard, they're not trying to upset you, they are just being dogs. By understanding why they dig and giving them better options, you can create a happier, more balanced life for both you and your pup. If you're dealing with excessive digging, try those strategies and let me know how they work. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, you can always drop them below and we will get back to you shortly. And now I wish you happy appropriate digging!